All right. Hi, fam. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you are doing well. Please subscribe. I'm going to continue to post videos as I continue with this process of um, court filing with my ex husband and so forth. Not my doing, his. But so had a conversation with one of my relatives, and this relative of mine for a while now has been saying, you know what, I think your husband married you for your money. But at the time, I had bought a house. This was prior to us getting married. I had bought a house, and he lived in an apartment, and I figured that was by choice. But I'll share more of that story with you another time. Um, but anyway, I'm realizing that he's right, that this man married me for my money. Because I remember when he first moved to the house, because I didn't want to sell my house once I got married, um, he was saying, "Oh, you know where everything is?" Of course, naturally. I don't feel like this is my home. I'm like, well, we can sell the house and we buy another house, and that would be ours. But he really never had a vision for what he wanted, but yet he complained about what we had. He didn't like the fact that when he came home, I would place the all the mail close to the door, and he would claim that he doesn't know where the mail is, he doesn't know where the bills are, that I've always paid the bills, he doesn't know when to pay the bills. I'm like, but the mail is right there. Just open the mail and you'll figure out the date when the bill is due. So there was always some complaint about something. And at the end of the day, I thought it was just the fact that I had purchased this home prior to us getting together. And so I figured, how about if we have a fresh start? Let's just start fresh, get rid of the house, we search for our own home. But that wasn't in the plan. He never really encouraged the idea. We never really sold the home. Eventually, I did put the home um, for sale, and we sold it. But that was my choice, of course, because I felt that the value of the property was slowly going down. That we needed to move into a new, I guess, an up and coming area, and that happened. And even in the process of us selling the home, he never looked for, it was ridiculous. He never searched for where we were going to live, um, you know, whether we would transition to an apartment and then eventually find a home. He just sat on his butt. I was thinking of another word, but I figured for the sake of keeping this video for general audience, although this topic is really not for children, but he never really did much. I mean, he was very complacent. It's kind of like whichever the wind blows, he'll go. Um, Being proactive is not part of his nature, which I figured towards the end of the marriage. Well, kind of midpoint, but I was like, well, how do you steer someone when they're really not motivated to do much? I do recall one instance, till this day, it's still vivid in my imagination. Um, I like to keep my house clean. I like to kind of put my best forward when we're having visitors. Why not? Yes, with common friends, sometimes you can let the house be dusty. It's okay, And hey, you could just simply say, hey, you know what? I haven't had a chance to clean or whatever. But when it's someone who's hasn't visited the home for forever, I guess, his relatives were coming over to visit, and so I was like, you know what? Let's clean up. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's rearrange this. And he was like, no, we don't have to do all this. This is not a fashion show. I'm like, not a fashion show? What does that mean? You have your family, first of all, with in laws, you never know what to expect. They might think you're the best thing alive, and they might think, oh, my son could have done better. You just never know. And yes, I'm not going to live my life up to their standards, but there are standards that I hold for myself. If someone's coming to my home, I want my home to be clean. And so I'm moving things that were on the table, books and so forth, trying to wipe. And he was like, no, just leave it. And so I left it. I just left it. I was just like, you know what? The H with him. It's his family. He doesn't want to clean. Fine. And of course, I know the blame was going to fall on my shoulders that I'm not cleaning my home. And lo and behold, you guys, you won't believe what happened. Exactly where I was trying to clean to pick up dust or leftover food particles, whatever I was trying to do right around that area, guess what? That's exactly where his aunt ended up sitting. His uncle ended up sitting there. I was so embarrassed. I was embarrassed. I'm like, you know what? I shouldn't have listened to him. I should have just cleaned up. But I was just tired of doing it all. I was just like, you know what? He doesn't want it to be clean. I'll just leave it. But I ended up feeling embarrassed because I could see that there were some areas where things were just dusty and um, maybe some leftover food particles that were not wiped. Um, it was just like, I just couldn't believe it. The one moment where I could have allowed, you know what? At the end of the day, we had been married for years. So these people knew me, knew the kind of person I was, but I don't know if that left an impression on them or lack of an impression. But either way, that was the first time they came to our place, and I really wanted, at least at that specific home, um, I really wanted to leave an impression, and um, I'm sure they kind of made an assumption about me, although for years I kind of proved who I was, but it really doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference at this point. But I'm saying all this to say, I do believe that he did marry me for all my money. He probably saw that I had the home as an asset and other things that I was bringing to the marriage that he didn't have. And you know what? At the end of the day, I should have had a prenup. I think a few, maybe a couple of years down the line in the marriage, I thought of doing a postnup, but I didn't go through with it. And I really should have, because at the end of the day, he would have walked away with nothing. He came with nothing. He should have left with nothing. Um, and so, ladies, men, if you have assets, doesn't matter how much you love this person, you are totally in love, you swept by them, do a prenup. Just do it. You just never know. just do a prenup. And if you didn't do a prenup, do a postnup. Okay? Because I've realized that when folks are going through a divorce, I don't know if both parties do it, but there's always one person out of the marriage who wants you to feel pain. It's just the way it works. I've never gone through it before, so I didn't know what to expect. But it's like this man wants me to feel pain at every angle, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, physical. I'm just thankful that I have a God who's got his angels around me, and I am protected in every way imaginable. So, guard your heart, guard your emotions. If you're going through an emotional trauma with your ex-spouse, be encouraged, because nothing lasts forever. There's going to be an end to it at some point. Unfortunately, the emotional trauma that you have to go through, that I have to go through, it does take a toll on you, on me, emotionally. And so we just have to hold on to our faith. I'm going to hold on to my faith and be encouraged out there, because people are wicked. Just hold on to your faith and know that you will be a better person at the end of it. All right. Until next time, thank you for watching La Femme en Bleu. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk again.